Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Thoughtfully Made Fiber vlogcast. My name is Amy Scher and I am your host. I am a knitting pattern designer as well as a spinner, a weaver, and a sewist. I am coming to you today on a very lovely and overcast morning. It's Friday, March 10th, and I am currently wearing my Effervescent Pullover. I designed this quite a while ago, 2 years ago now. And has it been 2 years? Yeah, I came up with the idea 2 years ago, I think. Yes. And it was a long road to getting it published. It became the cover of Pom Pom magazine, which I'll put here. But the rights and the sample have finally come back to me, so I am preparing this week to launch it. By the time you see this video, it will be out in the world, and I'll put a link for purchase below. It's available today at Ravelry and Payhip. Let's see. What else can I say about it? Oh, it's knit from the Wandering Flock Merinos and Gulls, and it has a circular construction and then a ruffle that's made of mohair that's in a coordinating color, a matching color. Because of the way it takes dye, the texture looks quite, the texture of the color is less sharp and more cloudy, like more spread out. So that is what I am wearing today. Today's episode kind of unintentionally turned into a spinning fiber episode. Lately I've been on kind of a spinning kick, and that's pretty much all I've been doing. So I have lots of goodies to show you. I've got my trusty wheel here with me to keep me company for this filming, and then I'm gonna film a little bit for you. This weekend I'm planning to go to the Missouri Botanical Gardens with my family, which I think it's our first time this season ever since the winter occurred, or ever since winter started. We've seen on their website that it's magnolia season finally, and we love magnolia season. So we're gonna go and enjoy the garden. So hopefully you'll see a little bit from me, footage throughout with gardening footage, spinning footage, all kinds of nice things. And since spring is almost upon us, the first day of spring is March 20th, I continue to be kind of in like a frenzy of planting, transplanting, all kinds of things. But we do have a hard freeze coming up this weekend, so I will need to figure out how to best protect my plants. I have them under some row covers right now, but we'll see if that will be sufficient to keep them alive. I only have cold hardy vegetables, but still the forecast has us going down all the way to like 22 Fahrenheit, and that feels really low to me. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get right into the fiber. I have quite a few finished, semi-finished objects for you, and I will start with this bunch. So if you've been watching for a while, then you've seen me work on these for quite a while. I started these the day after Christmas, December 26th, and I finally finished. This is the Inglenook Fibers 12 Days of Christmas spinning countdown thingy. And I love this fiber so much. Let me pull one out particularly and show you. It is the most delicious hand-carded fleece that they have processed in-house on their own at the convent. And they have added sari silk and other tweedy bits. I think this one, the blend I got, is all natural fiber, but this is what they look like after they're spun up. I spun them up in a supported backwards drop, long draw. I'll probably insert a little bit footage here so you can see me spinning it, but it turned out to be very lofty with wonderful tweedy texture, and After finishing these and processing them, I immediately wished I had more. It's not very common, I find, in the fiber world to find people who will process fleece and sell the bats or the rolags that they've processed, because it's such a intense process. So hand processed fiber is quite rare. I do often see people card like existing fiber, like fiber that already exists in top form, and then they card it, and it doesn't quite long draw the same way for me. The fiber comes out a little too organized because it's been combed, and then when I do the long draw, it just breaks, and then I have to support it a lot, and that's not my preference for long draw. I want to, when I spin from a bat, I would like to, you know, spin a full true long draw and do a fully woolen prep, which means the fiber cannot have been combed at any time. So true woolen prep. I think that might be woolen prep is almost the theme of today, because I have quite a few fibers here to show you that are woolen prep. There's some like hardcore spinners who say like a true woolen prep can only be hand carded and it can't be like drum carded, because drum carders are too predictable. They like straighten out the fibers too much, but that's a debate I'm not gonna get into because I cannot card at all. I don't have any kind of carding mechanism, equipment. I'm gonna call these true woolen. These are as true woolen as it gets for me. And yeah, I've been practicing my backwards draw and trying to support it less and less, because when you support it with a drafting finger, it squishes out all the air out of it. And I want to make sure I maintain the wonderful loft of the fiber. So I've been practicing that, and I think it turned out really beautiful. Obviously there were like 12 little batlets, it being the 12 days of Christmas. I spun 11 of them, and then I finished them with a really hot wash and a lot of blacking. I'll insert the footage here. I made a reel about it. I will insert it here. And then I realized I was missing one. I hung them up on my warping reel, and then I was like, oh wait, there's only 11 here. So then I went back into my Christmas stocking, which I had them stashed in that, and there was one more in there. Day 12, which I neglected to spin. I just like thought I was done and I wasn't. So I went back and spun it. Day 12 was this beautiful like hazy lavender color that's just right up my alley. I want a whole sweater quantity of these, and the problem with spinning countdowns like this is that once they're gone, they're gone. Like I can't get a sweater quantity of this, which is a pity. Anyway, enough about that. I'm definitely gonna purchase that again next year. I just love the countdown so much. They're so well prepared. It's such a dream to spin. The colors are dreamy, and then the tweedy texture is just so good. All right, some other spinning finished objects. I finally finished this spin, which caused me a lot of pain. This is not washed yet. I think this is called Sugar Plum, and it's been dyed by Wound Up Fiber Arts, who seems to be on a bit of a break from dyeing. So I'm really glad I had this still because I love her colors. The singles were a joy to spin up. I spun them up pretty thin, but the plying was an utter nightmare. Sometime mid last year, I purchased a jumbo bobbin for my little wheel here, the Kromski Symphony. And I'm pretty new to double drive, and I feel like on a regular bobbin, I kind of got the gist of the rhythm. But on a jumbo bobbin and a jumbo flyer, something about the take-up just is so unpleasant for me. And I can't figure out why, and it's just not super fun. So when I applied it, I really struggled with the take-up and the tension. I had to change out my drive band and everything, just because I realized the drive band I had, the kitchen twine I had on here, was too thick, and it wasn't gripping the pulley correctly, which means I was treadling so much harder than I needed to. And once I changed out the drive band, I was like, oh wow, this wheel is fast, because I had been spinning at like a reduced speed this whole time. That's embarrassing. So my wheel and I are getting along pretty well now. And once I figured that out, I was off, which is why I have so many spinning finished objects today, because I realized a mistake I had with my wheel, and now we get along. So I finished this quite a while ago, but it was really underplied due to my struggles with it. So I stuck it back through the wheel, applied it the same direction again, and refinished it, or replied it. So that is the finished one. I think this was Polworth and Silk. And pretty much everything I'm spinning today, I'm planning to weave with it, hopefully. So that's what I did. I went for a little bit more ply, a little bit over ply, because I like the look of it. And also I wanted it to be really sturdy on the loom. I've never used handspun fiber as the warp before. I have is the weft, and it's, you know, with the weft, it doesn't need to be so strong because it's not holding tension. So, so it was fine, but I'm trying to spin for the warp and slowly building up my repertoire and building my skills towards that. So that was that adventure. Don't know what it's gonna be yet. Hopefully a weaving. I say that I'm gonna use my hand spun as warp, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this really wants to be like an overshot contrast color. Yeah, we'll see. And then right after I finished those two projects, I spun up this wonderful Falkland from Nest Fiber. I'll link all the dyers and yarn producers below, as well as my pattern. Let's see, what is there to say about this? This was smooth sailing. This is the first skein that I spun up ever since I changed out the drive band. I have some 8/2 cotton from weaving on here, and it's held up really well. So I'm really glad that I got into weaving, because then I just had that yarn on hand, and then I cut out the length that it needed to be, put it on, smooth sailing since. And because the treadling and take up action is so smooth now that I have the correctly sized drive band on there, this is probably my most consistent spin ever. I'm really quite proud of it. Really beautiful 2-ply sport weight for sure. Very consistent sport weight. I also made sure I apply it more than I think I should. I realized that as a spinner, I kind of chronically underply. So this time I made sure I did it right the first time. I frequently stopped and checked my work and made sure it was like a really nice ply. When you ply and you stop and then you kind of let go of the tension between you and the orifice, if it kind of plies back on itself and does a pigtail, that actually means that that it's probably balanced. Like, you don't want it to be too much, but when it doesn't pigtail back on itself, I find that when I wash it and finish it, it tends to be underplied. And I think my working theory for that is that when you spin it and you rest your yarn, some of that stored energy, that stored twist, doesn't manifest itself again because it's been stretched, like it's been held at tension for a while, so kind of like a perm. Or like if you do like a wet roller or rag curls in your hair. So after I've spun it and it's been resting in the bobbin for a while, all of that twist and tension is not visible because it's been stretched for so long on the bobbin. And then when I apply it together and it looks balanced, it's actually not. And then once it gets wet in the hot water that I finish it in, all the twist reappears from the singles, and then now the ply is underplied. That's my working theory, and I've confirmed that with several sources. I think Yarnitecture mentions that, and then a few other sources like online articles also mention that. Yarnitecture is a book, and I read that recently just to like refresh my memory. I bought it because there was a long wait list in the library for it, for the ebook. So I bought the ebook, I read it, applied it, and the result is this perfectly balanced yarn. And it's really exciting and difficult. There's so many things to keep track of when you're spinning and plying, and I feel like I'm really starting to get into the groove of like plying correctly because everything, and now I look at, after I finished this, I looked in my yarn cabinet and so many things in there are underplied, so I think I'm gonna have to run a bunch of them through the wheel again. But this has been washed and finished because I really want to see how it washed up, and after washing it hangs perfectly. So beautiful little skein. All right, now I have one more kind of semi-finished object. I'm gonna try to film and show how I finish it because I think it might be entertaining because I may have like monumentally messed it up. Last time I mentioned that I purchased some wool from Skagit Mill. I think it's called Woolen Works or Skagit Wool Mill. Woolen Works. I will correct myself in text over here, and then I will put a link below. The tech editor who graded and tech edited this beautiful sweater is like semi-retired, or she's really busy and she doesn't tech edit as much anymore. So she and I have sadly parted ways because I do a lot of, like, I have a lot of design work that needs to be tech edited quickly, but I still wanted to support her. She and a friend purchased this mill outside of Seattle. I think it's like an hour-and-a-half drive. And I really want to visit someday. If they'll have me, I would love to visit. I've always wanted to visit a mill. But meanwhile, I got to appreciate their work from afar. I ordered 3 bumps of fiber, and this is the first, and I wish I thought to like film the before, but I forgot. I got so excited, it just dug right in. So I sampled a little bit, and from the sample, I realized I didn't want this particular fiber to be like a 2-ply, and I've never spun a single ply before. I know that you need less twist in a single, so I went ahead and I just spun it up, and it looks like this. And I kept it on the Nitty Naughty so I can show it to you. But it looks like that under tension. And then now I'm gonna, for the first time, take it off, and I just know it's gonna be like a twisty, pigtaily mess, which I've heard is very normal for spun singles before you hot wet finish it. So let's try it. Ooh, there it is. That's not as bad as I thought. That hangs pretty well, but it has been under tension on that Nitty Naughty for like many days because I wanted to show it to you. Oh, that's not bad. Look at that. There's not that many twist arounds. So I think once I thwack it and wet finish it, it's gonna be good. That's really lovely, actually. Wow. Did I spin that? I can't believe I spun that. Like a really lovely single. I'm gonna wet finish it and then hopefully I'll report back. Wow, that's really good. So that one is the Gotland single breed. I've got a 4-ounce bump of that. And when I spin a long draw, it goes really fast. This is a roving, so it is a woolen prep. When I spin long draw, it goes very fast. And since it's single ply and there's no plying involved, this was done in a day, like a couple hours of watching TV. I think we were watching The Last of Us while I was spinning it. So any inconsistencies in the yarn can be attributed to the plot and the characters of The Last of Us. It was episode 8, which was quite upsetting. I can't even talk about it. I don't want to spoil you all, but if you don't watch this zombie apocalypse show, it's like a surprisingly beautiful show with a lot of character moments and beautiful character development and characterization. And I particularly love, like everybody else, I love episode 3 the most. Anyway, The Last of Us, I spun this during that. So you can see kind of the pigtailing happening here before the finishing. There you go. Kind of. Right here. Hopefully when I finish it, it'll be straight. But so far so good. It looks good. I have no idea what this wants to be. I don't knit with single ply a lot. But I was kind of aiming for like a thinner lopey style single. Like a really fluffy, woolly, woolen spun, wafty. We'll see how that goes. So I bought 2 more bumps of fiber of roving from Skagit Woolen Works. Ah, there's a tag. It is Skagit Woolen Works. There we go. There's their little tag. This one is Romney and BFL and Coopworth. Oh, you know what? I didn't buy this one. Jessica very kindly sent it along. I bought 2 bumps and this is like a little bonus I should do it. This is 4 ounces. Very kind of her. Thank you, Jessica. 4 ounces of Romney, BFL, and Coopworth. So normally I'm not a huge fan of Romney. I spun it several times and every time I spin it, it feels really lovely and non-prickly in the fiber form. And then when I spin it up, it's like, I consider myself to be very tolerant of prickly fibers, but Romney and I do not get along. And I find it difficult to draft too. So I'm very curious. I'm not sure if this is a blend or if it's a crossbreed. I'm gonna have to look at their website to find out. But I'm hoping that the BFL and the Coopworth, which has a lot of luster and smoothness to it in my experience, will give it a little bit, it feels better to me. So I'm curious how that spins up. And it comes in like a thin pre-drafted roving like this. And it's very easy to draft. Like I said, the single for the Gotland one took pretty much no time. And then the last one that I purchased, or the second one that I purchased, that I have yet to finish, is their higher vegetable matter Jacob. So I've been trying to purchase more single breeds to spin, breeds that come in roving form nicely for long draw and that I don't get to work with a lot. A lot of these breeds I find that I just don't see it in mill fiber or mill yarn. So it's really exciting to be able to spin it, experience these different fibers and try them out. So this one I purchased is very soft. And I know that the listing said that there was going to be a lot of vegetable matter in it, but it's actually really clean. There's like not much at all. So I think the standards for vegetable matter removal is quite high over at Skagit Woolen Works because this is wonderful and this is super soft and lovely. And I've heard lots of great things about Jacob as a breed, so I'm excited to spin that up. And all of these are undyed. These two and also this guy. Such beautiful, neutral, undyed tones. And I know that sad beige is like a whole meme now, like people make fun of people who like neutrals, but my heart sings when I spin neutral colors. So those are my Skagit Woolen Works purchases. And the last spinning project I have to show you is this Nutiden. So I scored some bumps of Nutiden bats a while back. And they come in this like big roll form, rolled up into like a pillow. Let me re-roll this. Boop. Oh my gosh, I unrolled it too much. Flew too close to the sun. I will take my bobbin off and show you because I ran out of bobbin space. I have 200 grams of this and I was trying to get 100 gram onto each bobbin and they didn't fit. So I'm gonna have to come up with a new solution for that. I wanted like a neat continuous piece and then I wanted to ply it on my jumbo bobbin, but that's not gonna work. You'll see. Okay, here we go. It's taking me a minute to get the flyer off. So here's the flyer. And what I've done so far. This is probably 80 grams or so of this fiber. It's like a blend of Swedish yarn or a Swedish sheep wool. And I did, again, the long draw. Really feeling the long draw, really loving the long draw. Yeah. I spun this to be rather tight, like well twisted, and I'm trying to find the end so I can show you, but it's now a struggle to find the end at all. Oh, here it is. Oh, come on in, come out. Now I'm like breaking my yarn. Hang on. Okay, I'm gonna do a little ply back so you can see. Oh my gosh, after just sitting overnight, the twist has like disappeared. Okay, so this is what I'm aiming for here. Oh my gosh, face, go away. Go away, my face. There you go, kind of. So this is what I'm going for. Kind of like a Sports City K-weight before finishing. And I'm gonna try to spin up all 200 grams of this color and then 200 grams of another color from the same update. Nutiden doesn't make spinning fiber very often, so I jumped at the chance to buy some the last time they did it. I want to spin for a warp. I don't want to spin. I am spinning for a warp for a Nutiden blanket, and then I hope to use the unspun yarn as weft. I think there's somebody in the family of the Nutiden makers who does that in Sweden, and she uses like mill spun weaving yarn for the warp, and then she makes blankets out of the unspun Nutiden, and so wonderful. I love her blankets and I very much want one. That's the motivation of this spin. I am still very much stalled on my weaving project. I haven't made that much progress since I last filmed it. I hope to make some progress this weekend. But that is all I have for you this week. As far as spinning goes, there's one knitting project. I can't show the other ones yet, but I had some leftover yarn, also semi-woolen spun. This is Gilliatt is the name of the yarn, and it's by Rerum Natura. And this is in one of the gray colorways, I forget which. It's like the salt and pepper one. I had some leftover from my building blocks cardigan, which I talked about last time in episode 28. And I wanted to design a vest for my kid out of it because I couldn't find like a cute V-neck vest cardigan with buttons down the middle and a V-neck that comes in this gauge that's graded all the way from size toddler, like 2T, all the way up to like 12 to 14 because I knew that I would want to make some future versions of it for my kids. So I wanted to buy a pattern that would last me for a while across both kids. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find a pattern using this similar gauge, and I didn't want to swatch again. And rather than swatch and find a new gauge to work with, I just designed a pattern instead. And here it is, progress so far. A little vest for kids. This is bottom up, constructed very similarly to the building blocks cardigan, so all the instructions were like pretty much written. I just had to size it down, and then the shoulders will become narrower rather than be a drop shoulder, so it'll be like a true vest that sits on the shoulders. This one is in size 7 or 8, I think. I'll have to check my notes, but yeah, I'm happy with how it's working up. I'm going camping soon, and I hope to bring this with me and finish it up. and release it sometime in the summer. So for like a back to school kind of vest. So that's what I have going on. I didn't knit my last Rerum Natura sample in Gilliatt because, so the nice thing about having sample knitters is that the production schedule for my patterns doesn't like get interrupted or destroyed when I get sick, which is what happened with the building blocks cardigan. And then it doesn't rely on my health or my like relative pain levels. Like I hurt myself doing Excel 2 days ago and I'm still not fully recovered. My right arm is like right now. So the nice thing about having sample knitters is that they really help me out when I have pain issues. And I often cannot sample knit, but the bad thing about having sample knitters is that I don't get to work with the yarn, and knitting is like the funnest part of the job and I don't get to do it as much as I'd like to. So with a ball and a half left of the Gilliatt, I'm really glad that, I know there's hair on my face, oh my gosh. There we go, got it, okay. With a ball and a half left on the Rerum Natura Gilliatt, I'm really happy I am getting to work with it. The yarn is more, so if you're used to working with a lot of fine yarns and you use mostly like the hand-dyed worsted spun yarns, the bases that are very common amongst the indie dye community, you will find this a little bit rustic. But because I come from like these woolen spun weird, like hand spun prickly yarns, as well as unspun yarns that I love to use, this is very much like a fine, like a relatively fine yarn. It is a semi-woolen spun merino, so it's very lofty and very lovely, but still has like the nice structure in the strand for a worsted spun, so it's not like a true woolen, it's kind of like semi. I'm not sure how they define that. That word doesn't really mean anything. To me, it usually means that I've like done a woolen style like backwards draw supported with twist through the fingers, but I did it on a worsted prep like this, carded in combed fiber, spun it kind of woolen. You can see the fibers kind of trying to escape there and being chaotic. Ooh, focus, there we go. So not a true worsted spun. So this is what I would consider like semi-woolen. And then this is true woolen. This is labeled semi-woolen, but I don't know what that means. Was it carded? Was it combed? How was it spun? I don't know, but the texture is very much that like semi-woolen, like either it was worsted spun on a woolen prep or it was woolen spun on a worsted prep. That's what it feels like to me. So I would say that that description is accurate, but it's not as descriptive or specific as I would like it to be. Just a little pet peeve of mine. Not their fault. I don't think they cater to spinners, so it doesn't really matter. But being a nerd, I like to know the details of everything, and I don't know the details of this. It's frustrating, but in any case, it's working up wonderfully, and the swatch bloomed beautifully for me when I last swatched with this, which is ages and ages ago. So because I swatched with it before and I got gauge, I did not swatch for it this time. It's very YOLO. This is not the only sample I'm knitting, or I'm getting knit up for this vest. But you can see the unblocked fabric is very rustic, very textured. Good drip though, because I'm knitting it at a more open gauge. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I highly recommend this yarn. I really like it. I think it's like the perfect garment yarn because the semi-woolen spun will hold a lot of air. It'll be super warm but super light, which I think is great for kids. So I look forward, I knit a size up for my kids, so hopefully she'll be able to wear it next fall because it feels like winter is coming to an end already. Oh my gosh. By the time I finish this, winter will be over. We'll be into spring. Where did the year go? Anyway, so I will hopefully be back to report soon about this weird single spun that I did that's all like weird and twisty. I'll wash it and report back either in an insert this episode or next time. I don't know yet. What are you making lately? Are you like in a spring mood? I feel like when it comes to spring, I just want to spin, spin, spin. Clearly that's what I've been doing. And since I'm going camping soon, I hopefully will get some knitting done soon. Let me know what you're making and what you think of woolen spun yarns. And if you spin at all, what's your favorite prep? If you have favorite sources for woolen preps, do let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for more woolen prepped fibers like rovings, bats, that kind of thing. So let me know if you have any recommendations. I will put the link to everything I've talked about in the description box so that you too can spin woolen spun yarn if you want to. Hopefully I'll talk to you very soon. Have a great day.